Hello, my name is Jouni Vilkka and this is my channel TFF Teacher from Finland. I'm now taking a break from my usual style of content, which is academic stuff like philosophy and psychology, to talk about tabletop role-playing games. Usually when discussing role-playing games, duties are associated with what the game master does. But there are some important things the players have to do as well. The following are some things I can think of, not really in any particular order. Add your own in the comments below. To start off with the most important, obviously, is don't take things too seriously. Have fun. Second, I guess this is a bit demanding for some people, but as with all of these duties, don't take them too seriously either. So try to visualize the situations, the locations, whatever is being described, if you can. That should help with immersion. 3. The point of role-playing games is to tell a story together, not to beat the game. As a player, your job is to get into character and take on the role of the player character you are playing. It is not to make the character as powerful as possible, or winning in general, except in as much as that is what the character wants. But as the player, you should see how an author or actor might want to develop the character. 4. Your player character is not you. The same is true about the other players and their characters, obviously. The values, beliefs, behaviors, everything to do with the player character can be completely different from the player. Often that is the point. It also means forget everything you think you know about anything and focus on what your player character knows or believes. This is especially important in fantasy worlds. They may be completely divorced from the laws of physics. 5. In order to make a good story, your player character should perhaps do things you wouldn't do, or what you think might be really dumb to do. Even sacrificing a player character may sometimes be necessary for the story, or at least good for the story. 6. The game master is the god of the role-playing game. The point is, she's not your opponent. She works with the players to create the best story you can create together. So don't try to plan things behind her back. It will only backfire anyway. Plan with her. Also, forget about the rules. Let the game master take care of that. 7. Be considerate to others. Try to listen to others more than speaking yourself, or demanding the game master's attention too much. Encourage others to be active, especially if they seem shy. Try to be extra positive and friendly to others, especially people new to the group. 8. At least try not to ruin the mood. Don't join the session if you are angry, irritated, too drunk, or sleepy. 9. Be positive about the plans suggested by other players or player characters during brainstorming. You can do that out of character, even if your character is a very negative person. Without some idea of what to do, the players can't actively move the game forward, and any plan has some likelihood of succeeding, especially if the game master finds it funny. 10. Remember the principle of benevolent interpretation. Even if someone says something wrong or hurtful, it isn't likely to be intended so. Of course, if things like that occur repeatedly, even if you've commented on that, it may be time to leave the group. 11. Mood is important for role-playing games, so do your part to set it, as much as you can. Don't expect the game master to do it miraculously without your participation. Don't talk about things unrelated to the story during the session. The group will probably take breaks, so talk about it then. If the game is supposed to be horror, for example, but you turn it into a stupid joke, it can ruin the whole experience for everyone. Some humor is usually good, at least, most of the time. 12. If your character happens to be a source of humor, that should be a good thing. Some of the most memorable situations and characters in the games I've been in have been humorous things involving a player character. 13. If you can, put some effort into describing your character. Not just their actions, but also their emotional state. For example, instead of just saying flatly that your player character sneaks behind the enemy soldier, you can express how your player character hopes that the floorboards won't squeak as they tiptoe behind the guard with their heart in their throat. Or something like that. The way you say things and express yourself is more important than what you actually say, and no one expects you to be Shakespeare. 14. Related to the previous, when trying to figure out the surroundings, use leading questions to see if you can find something to interact with. For example, peering into a dark alley, you can ask if your player character sees any apparently homeless people. Are there any barrels or boxes, or possibly a discarded bicycle? This sort of thing can give the world more depth or meat around the bones. It can become more interesting for everyone. 15. When generating a player character, try to come up with a backstory with the other players, and obviously the game master, so that there's a good reason why the player characters will form a group. Few role-playing games, to my knowledge, actually address this. The game master could often use some help with things like this, and it is a good way for the players to add depth to their characters. My point is, work together with the other players to create your characters, so that there is something in common with all of these characters. Okay, 16. You can come up with additional characters related to your player characters somehow, within limits set by the game master. These other characters can be the relatives, friends, or enemies of your player character, or whatever you can come up with. It is better not to be too detailed about them, but a simple sketch of a couple of lines is plenty. They might at some point turn up in the campaign as the game master has found use for them. And finally, 17. And I can't believe I actually have to say this, but if you leave a gaming group, you can't take your character sheets with you. They almost certainly belong to the game master anyway. You didn't bring the paper with you when you started. But more importantly, those characters are still in the campaigns of that game master, and she needs the sheets. I understand that you may wish to keep the character sheets as memorabilia. The game master will probably make you copies if you ask, or you can probably use your phone to snap some pictures. So, what do you think? Anything you'd like to add? Are these all just rubbish, or are there any good points among these 17 points that I just made? Anyway, in the next video I'll be talking about developing a campaign. Some points about that. But bye for now. If you wish to support my channel, please click thumbs up, subscribe and share my videos. Any comments on the videos would also be welcome.